On Tuesday, former President Donald Trump's legal team claimed that if Donald Trump wanted to murder his political opponents, there's really nothing that could stop him except for impeachment. Now, this was during an appeals hearing on the issue of absolute immunity from prosecution. So when asked by Judge Florence Pan if for example, a president who ordered SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival and is not impeached, would he then be subject to criminal prosecution? To which Trump defense lawyer John D. Sauer replied only if he's impeached and convicted first. So it's not just impeachment, they also have to be convicted by the Senate. But as we all know, that's a political trial. That's not a criminal trial. And so I guess if the president does criminal acts, you need a political trial to determine whether or not he can be prosecuted. That makes absolutely no sense. So if the Senate, for example, said no, because it's run by Republicans who don't care, then the president can apparently literally get away with murder. That is insane. That also means, by the way, that if Joe Biden wanted to do it right now under that argument, then he could. That's also insane. What? Now, she further stated that the logic could also be applied to a president selling pardons or military secrets, as these could be argued to be official acts. Now, remember, the argument they're making is, well, you can't be charged with a crime, for, anything because that's considered your official duties. But wait a minute. Calling for, cheering on the Capitol rioters, for example, by telling the big lie, or inciting them, that's not a part of the president's official duties. Okay? Insane. Now, she said, this extraordinarily frightening future where it would be not a crime if the president orders the assassination of his political rivals and then resigns to avoid impeachment and conviction should weigh heavily on the court's decision. That's Assistant Special Counsel James Pierce, who is correct, because it would be incredibly frightening that you could do whatever you want and resign to get away with it, or in some cases, you might not even have to resign. I mean, it would depend on who's controlling the Senate, and again, that would be absolutely insane. And look, they don't even have to be allies; they could just be intimidated. Okay. And I would think that if you order the death of your political rival, it'd be kind of intimidating, wouldn't it? If you've already done that and could theoretically do it again. I mean, very, very intimidating. You wouldn't want to be on his bad side, would you? The chilling effect would just be, huge. Funny enough, Pan also picked apart the argument here further by exposing a contradiction. Oh, a contradiction in Trump's argument. Ooh, gee. Didn't see that one coming, did you? Of course. Hey, look.
I'm cognitively there.
What do you mean, cognitively there? I make the best arguments, the greatest arguments, the most tremendous arguments. Here's that argument. If a president can be prosecuted if they're impeached and convicted, then the president does not have absolute immunity. Yes, true. Therefore, the court should only seek to answer whether the Constitution mandates impeachment and conviction to enable a later prosecution. So that's her breaking apart that logic. Sauer rejected the contradiction by arguing the requirement of impeachment and conviction for an ex-president's prosecution is a very narrow exception. But then it's not absolute, is it? That's the whole point. If there's a very narrow exception, then it's not absolute. Now, another of the judges, Judge Karen Henderson, meanwhile questioned Sauer's argument that the president can freely break the law because he's being required by the Constitution to take care that the laws be faithfully executed. I think it's paradoxical to say that Trump's constitutional duty to take care that the laws be faithfully executed allows him to violate criminal laws. Yeah, I mean, you can't exactly follow the law by breaking the law. That doesn't make any sense. And it looks like the judges not exactly buying the argument. That said, following this hearing, Trump and attorney John Lauro did speak to reporters for about 10 minutes. with him saying all sorts of falsehoods and then saying that he had a very good day in court. Really, the judge just doesn't seem swayed by your arguments at all. And then added that if he were to lose the appeal, it would be bedlam in the country. Bedlam. Now, obviously, that kind of made people in the press pool a little nervous and wanted to know, what do you mean by that?
You just used the word bedlam. Will you tell your supporters now, no matter what, no violence?
That was it. He just walked away. Doesn't look like he wants to answer that question. Just like he didn't want to sign a pledge in Illinois promising he won't advocate for the overthrow of government. Yes, that's right. Candidates who sign the oath, including Biden and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, attest that they do not directly or indirectly teach or advocate the overthrow of the government of the United States or of this state, or any unlawful change in the form of governments thereof by force or any unlawful means. Now you might be wondering, wait, why do they have essentially what is a loyalty pledge, or I will not overthrow the government pledge in Illinois? Well, it turns out it's kind of left over from the Red Scare and includes that candidates attest that they don't support communism. Or communist organizations, which you think then that would be a slam dunk. That's something that right-wingers put up because they were so afraid of, communism, Soviet Union. They're like, oh, let's put in this pledge that you're not going to overthrow the government, institute communism. Well, you'd think, again, that would be a slam dunk. That Trump would be like, oh, I don't like communism. Yeah, I'll sign that. But he didn't. Wait, does that mean he's a
Pink-haired communist?
No, of course not. But it does signal that he would be okay with overthrowing the government if it helped him. Now, when asked about this, the campaign issued a statement predicting the former president would defeat Biden at the polls. Well, you're dodging that one issue, aren't you? Just dodging it. So he won't tell his supporters not to be violent after promising bedlam, and after some of them were violent on January 6th. He won't sign a pledge saying that he won't overthrow the government, and then argued in court, had his lawyers argue that he can murder his political opponents and get away with it if the Senate allows him to. Come on, man. I think it's pretty clear if he doesn't get his way, he's going to try to take it.